Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Tutelage, a guide to learner. Here this is Sriparna. I hope all of you are doing good. So today we are going to explain one of the most interesting topic, that is Flanders Interaction Analysis from paper to education. And at first we have to say something, that is we have already discussed many topics on education. So if you have missed my that session, so just go and check my channels. I hope that session would be a very beneficial session to everyone, and my last sessions link are already available in my first comment and my description box, so just go and check my link. And I think that session would be a very interesting session to everyone. And if you like the video, so please do one like, share and comment, and please do some support and subscribe my channel for getting more useful session. So let's get started the session. So basically, systematic observation is a set of procedures. It represents useful means of identifying, studying, classifying, and measuring specific variables as they interact within instructional learning situation. So teachers can be trained to use them for analyzing classroom behavior, for planning, studying his or her own teaching activities, and that is the main basic funda about the Flanders interaction analysis. Now going to the meaning of interaction analysis. So what do you mean by a interaction analysis? So basically interaction analysis is a process of encoding and decoding the study pattern of the teaching and learning. Okay, so at first we have to know what you mean by a encoding. So basically in the encoding process, categories of classifying statements are established, code is assigned to each and every category, and trained observer records by jotting down code. That is the basic meaning of encoding. And now going to the decoding process. So that process basically refers to the interpreting the display of the coded data and reconstruct the original one. That is the basic meaning of encoded process and the decoding process. Okay, so I think this is clear what you mean by a Flanders interaction analysis and what is called interaction analysis basically. So according to the Daniel Bopro, the Flanders interaction analysis or interaction analysis has three dimensions. The first one is communication, the second one is coordination, and third one is interpretation. So we all know that all dimensions are very important to the model. Okay, so at first we have to discuss the first dimension, that is communication. So basically we all know that communication exists between two people, two agents. Okay, so there must be some common ground of mutual understanding also. So I think the communication, what do you mean by a communication, and what is the basic meaning between communicating between two persons is clear to everyone. And the communication sometimes is facilitated by interposing a mediator person also. Now going to the second dimension, that is coordination. So with the when we have multiple agents with multiple goals and progress, so we require some agent to share our resources and work towards some common goals. So sometimes joint commitment, joint venture to future action is a very useful way for organizing information. So we have already told what you mean by a interaction. Now coming to the next thing, that is classroom interaction. Basically Flanders interaction analysis is related to the classroom interaction. So that's why at first we have to know what you mean by a classroom interaction. So basically classroom interaction refers to the teaching activities which consist of objectives and systematic observation of the classroom events for the study of the teacher's classroom behavior and the process of interacting going inside the classroom. So I think this is clear what you mean by a classroom interaction. So Flanders classroom interaction. Now going to the main topic, that is Flanders classroom interaction. So basically Flanders interaction analysis is a process of encoding and decoding the study pattern of teaching and learning. We have already told that part. So classroom interaction analysis may be defined as an instrument which is designed to record categories of verbal interaction for capturing qualitative and quantitative dimensions of teachers' verbal behavior and the verbal behavior of teachers students as they interact in the classroom, and that is known as Flanders system of interaction analysis. I think this is clear. What do you mean by a Flanders interaction analysis? Keep it in mind, non-verbal behavior are not taken into the account. Okay, so basically it is used to classify the verbal behavior of teachers and students in the classroom situation. So we have some assumptions for this interaction analysis, but here we will mention some basic assumption for explaining the Flanders interaction analysis. So the first assumption is predominance of verbal communication. In a normal classroom, it is verbal communication, okay, and which is predominance obviously. The second assumption is higher reliability of the verbal behavior. We have already know there are two types of behavior in the every normal classroom situation, that is verbal behavior or non-verbal behavior of the both teacher and student, but higher reliability of the verbal behavior than verbal behavior. Okay, now coming to the next assumption, and that is consistency of verbal statement than the non-verbal statements. And teacher's influence is one of the most important assumption in the Flanders and interaction analysis, because teacher exerts a great deal of influence on the pupils or students. And now coming to the next one, and that is social climate. And we all know that social climate is related to the productivity, it is related to the interpersonal relationship between student and teacher. So that's why social climate, classroom climate, all are very very important assumption in the Flanders interaction analysis. And now going to the next one, and that is modification of the teacher's behavior through feedback, and which is one of the most important assumption. And now coming to the last one, that is teacher's influence is expressed through verbal statement and non-verbal statement, but here we will mention only teacher's influence is expressed through the verbal statement, because Flanders interaction analysis is basically defined as an instrument which is designed to record categories of the verbal interaction for capturing qualitative and quantitative dimensions of the teachers and students verbal behavior, not non-verbal behavior. So I think the main meaning of Flanders interaction analysis is clear to everyone, and we have already told there are two processes, the first process that is encoding and the second process that is decoding. So now going to the next thing, that is it attempts to categorize all the verbal behavior to be found in the classroom situation. Okay, so there are three categories. The first category, that is teacher's talk, the second one that is pupil talk, and the third one that is silence or confusion. So now we are going to discuss what you mean by a teacher's talk. Okay, so in the first category there are few steps and the code is assigned to each and every step. So in the first category, that is teacher's talk, the first step, that is accepts feeling, second one that is encourages, third one is uses ideas of pupils, fourth one is ask questions, next one that is lecturing, next that after that giving direction and criticizing authority. So teacher's talk is basically divided into two parts. Basically the last first four one are included in the indirect influence, and last three that are lecturing, giving directions and criticizing authority are included in the directive influence. So I think this is clear. Now going to the next category, that is student talk or pupil talk. So in this category there are two category only. So first one is pupil talk response and second one is pupil talk initiation. Okay, and the last category, that is silence or confusion. So basically, what do you mean by a silence or confusion? So basically, it refers to the pause or short periods of confusion in which communication cannot be understood by the observer. I think this is clear. So here we are attaching each and every step under these three categories with their respective codes. And we have already told there are two processes in this in the Flanders interaction analysis, that is encoding and decoding. So encoding basically is used for recording the classroom events and preparing observation matrix, which is 10 into 10. And now going to the decoding process. So basically decoding is used for interpreting the observation matrix. So I think this is clear what is encoding and decoding process. And now going to the procedure of the Flanders interaction analysis. So basically the process is the observer sits on the last bench of the classroom when he or she is teaching. Okay, so at an interval of every 3 seconds he or she writes down that category number which base represents or communication just completed. And we have already told each and every category has their own code. Okay, so code is assigned to each and every category. So the entire process is under the encoding process, and after preparing the observation matrix, the interpretation of the classroom verbal behavior is under the decoding process. Okay, so I think this is clear what is the basic procedure of the Flanders interaction analysis and why we are making the observation matrix. What is the purpose of making observation matrix? So basically the purpose is to preserve selected aspects of interaction through observation, encoding process, tabulation, decoding process. So what are the selected aspects of interaction? So these are proportion of the teacher talk and the pupil talk. Next one is proportion of the teacher talk and silence, ratio between indirect influence and direct influence. Fourth one is positive and negative reinforcement. Fifth one is student participation ratio. Next one, steady state cell, content cross cell, constructive integration cells, and visuous cells. So I think this is clear why we are making the observation matrix according to the Flanders interaction analysis. Now coming to the advantage and disadvantages of this process. So it is basically a very bold step to improve the quality of education, and which is one of the most important advantage of this process. Okay, and it is a very effective tool for giving feedback to the teacher. Observation technique is a very reliable method for the classroom behavior, and it is a very useful theory of teaching, measuring the social emotional climate in the classroom, and it helps in analyzing verbal behavior and modifying the verbal behavior of the student and teacher. Now coming to some disadvantages of this process. So it cannot be described the classroom activity in its totality, because it is emphasis on the it more emphasis on the teacher behavior than the student behavior. It focuses only the verbal behavior. It doesn't focus on the non-verbal things. So tabulation of the data pairs into 10 into 10 matrix is a time consuming process, and which is one of the most important disadvantages of this process. And this is not a content free, and it provides no information about the quality of the content. The last two disadvantages are it neglects non-verbal behavior, and coding and decoding system requires more time. So basically it is a time consuming process. So now going to use of the Flanders interaction analysis. So basically, it helps to improve classroom instruction, classroom situation, and develop and control the teaching behavior. So I think the Flanders interaction analysis is clear to everyone. If you have any problem on it, so please do one comment in my comment section. I will reply you positively. So we are done for the today's session. I hope that session would be a very beneficial session to everyone. I will come again with a new session, new topic. Till then, stay tuned. So, if you like my video, so please do one like, share, and comment, and please do some support and subscribe my channel for getting more useful session. Thank you. Happy learning.